Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up this engagement in sense gratification. Can you move the screen over?
Sorry.
That's
Go
okay.
on.
I left off with sense gratification.
Are you able to see my screen, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Now I am. Okay. Well, one, and then I need the, yeah. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, without any motive. Sorry about that, Prabhu.
Thank
My
you.
dear brother, just try and examine this. Within the three worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry and stones melt. Correct.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
But Lochandas regrets that I am entrapped by sense gratification. Since I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, then Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted by this movement.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajkacharya Ashtotar Sata Shriman His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajkacharya Ashtotar Sata Shriman His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Iskon Founder Acharya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन धाम की जय। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी महारानी की जय, समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining for our Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We will continue from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 4, text number 143. Oops, let me change this to advanced view with single translation. 143, am I right, Shobha Radhe Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, 143.
Thank you. Anybody who is available to do the Bengali recitation?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please.
Yes. চলি চলি আইলা পুরী শ্রী নীলা চলে জগন্নাথ দেখি হইলা প্রেমেতে বিহ্বল.
Walking and walking, Madhavendra Puri finally reached Jagannath Puri, which is also known as Neelachala. There he saw Lord Jagannath and was overwhelmed with loving ecstasy.
প্রেমাবেশে উঠে পড়ে হাসে নাচে গায় জগন্নাথ দর্শনে মহাসুখ পায়.
When Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, he sometimes stood up and sometimes fell to the ground. Sometimes he laughed, danced, and sang. In this way, he enjoyed transcendental bliss by seeing the Jagannath deity.
মাধবপুরী শ্রীপাদ আইল, লোক হইল খ্যাতি, সব লোক আসি তারে করে বহু ভক্তি।
When Madhavendra Puri came to Jagannath Puri, people were aware of his transcendental reputation. Therefore, crowds of people came and offered him all sorts of respect in devotion.
প্রতিষ্ঠার স্বভাব এই জগতে বিদিত, যে না বাঞ্ছে তার হয় বিধাতা নির্মিত।
Even though one may not like it, a reputation as ordained by providence comes to him. Indeed, one's transcendental reputation is known throughout the entire world.
প্রতিষ্ঠার ভয়ে পুরী গেলা পালায়া, কৃষ্ণ প্রেমে প্রতিষ্ঠা চলে সঙ্গে গড়ায়া।
Being afraid of his reputation, Pratishtha, Madhavendra Puri fled from Remuna. But the reputation brought by love of Godhead is so sublime that it goes along with the devotee as if following him. Purport. Almost all the conditioned souls within the material world are envious. Jealous people generally turn against one who automatically attains some reputation. This is natural for jealous people. Consequently, when a devotee is fit to receive worldly reputation, he is envied by many people. This is quite natural. When a person, out of humility, does not desire fame, people generally think him quite humble and consequently give him all kinds of fame. Actually, a Vaishnava does not hanker after fame or a great reputation. Madhavendra Puri, the king of Vaishnavas, bore his reputation, but he wanted to keep himself outside of the vision of the general populace. He wanted to cover his real identity as a great devotee of the Lord. But when people saw him overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, they naturally gave credit to him. Actually, a first-class reputation is due Madhavendra Puri because he was a most confidential devotee of the Lord. Sometimes a Sahajiya presents himself as being void of desires for reputation, pratishtha, in order to become famous as a humble man. Such people cannot actually attain the platform of celebrated Vaishnavas. Om Ajnana-Timirandhasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshur-Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते सच्चिदानंद स्वामी नित्यानंद नित्यानंद प्रियप्रेष दीनपुत्रे हरे कृष्णा thank you all for joining. I have no qualifications to speak. Before I, try to repeat a few words of what I heard, I seek blessings and permission from all of you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So just to recap a little bit about the glories of Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra Puri, we read in the previous verses, he was contemplating after receiving the sweet rice, and we are discussing his great love for the Lord. Yeah, because of which he immediately wanted to leave the temple because of the desire to honor the Amrita Keli before it was offered to the Lord. Yeah? But although he left and went away from the temple, the Lord stole the sweet rice so lovingly and gave it to him through the the Brahmana priest who was serving in the temple. Yeah. The other day I was hearing this lecture from the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, text 22. Any guesses what the verse is? Text 22 from the 9th chapter. Anyone? Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who always worship him with exclusive devotion, ananyas chintayanto mam, and meditating on his beautiful transcendental form, to them he carries whatever they lack and he preserves what they have. So, Madhavendra Puri wanted to taste the sweet rice. And what was the real reason why he wanted to taste it? Yes. Why did he want to taste the sweet rice?
To be able to make it for the Lord.
Yeah, for the Gopal deity, right? So he wanted to make a similar preparation for the Gopal deity. So in this, I was hearing this verse from the Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, this text 22. And in relation to that, Prabhupada tells a story about Arjuna Acharya. It's a very nice story. This Arjuna Acharya, the background, he was writing commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. And, he and his wife were living in a village, in the outskirts of a village. I mean, there are a couple of versions I read. I'll just share one, but the essence for both the versions is the same. So he would, go into the village and beg alms from different houses. But he was very humble and led a simple life. He would just go to no more than 3 homes, 3 houses on a given day. And whatever he got alms from there, that's what he and his wife would survive on for that given day. So one day he got pretty late in going to this, begging alms, and it was pretty late, And then, when he was writing the commentary on this particular verse, he read that last part of that, Krishna says, where I carry what they lack. And then, he struck it off from there. And then he goes to take a bath when 2 beautiful boys come to his house. You may have seen in India, especially in the olden days, they would have this stick, a long stick, and food is hanged onto both sides, or people are holding on both sides, right? With heavy weights put.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some of you who know the story of Shravan Kumar may know.
Yeah.
Like that. So these 2 beautiful boys carried a lot of groceries, a lot of food, everything, and came to the home of this Arjunacharya. Obviously, he had gone to take bath, so his wife opened the door, and she was, on one hand, surprised to see all this food in large quantities, but at the same time, she saw that these 2 little cute boys were holding so much weight. And the boy said, your husband Arjunacharya, we are his disciples, and he asked us to carry all this weight. Yeah. So she was thinking, oh, my husband is not that cruel to have this so little boys hold so much of weight. Huh? How is that, And then they said, look, he has also beaten us. And they were showing their back, So he said, if we don't do this, he's gonna, So she was really upset. She said, how come her husband became so cruel, And she said, okay, you please come sit down. I'll serve some, food for you. And the two boys said, no. If Arjunacharya comes back, he's gonna chastise us. We have to go. And they didn't want to stay, and they went away. Then Arjunacharya, he came back, and his wife was, obviously very upset. And she said, and he also saw all the food items that were there, all the groceries that were there. Says, how come you become so cruel? These two boys, so nice boys, they came with so many food stuff. They told me that you were the one who, asked them to carry all this load on their head. And when they denied to take it, you beat them up, So, and you chastise them. And he was like, what? I've never done that. Why would I do that? Then Arjunacharya understood, because he struck off that from the those lines, that Krishna and Balaram personally came and delivered. Because he said, Krishna doesn't come personally. So because he struck off, those were the beating marks that the Krishna and Balaram were showing. Yeah. So Krishna, Yogakshema Vahamyaham, Krishna and Balaram personally gave all those items. And when we are hearing these kind of stories, especially from Madhavendra Puri's this wonderful pastime, and also this Arjunacharya, sometimes one may feel, different people have different levels of faith in these stories, right? But those who are pure devotees, when they hear, their heart will melt in great ecstatic love. And my Lord Krishna Balaram personally came and delivered all the groceries. And the Lord, how nicely, cleverly the Lord destroyed the doubt of his devotees and give protection to his devotees. And also his wife was so fortunate that she could personally see the Lord's face to face. So full faith, and our heart melts when we hear, if we have full faith, such pastimes. So, but on the other hand, if we start speculating to the degree one speculates, especially for Gyanis in the previous verses we were reading, these stories won't appear very appealing to Gyanis, the doubts will be further aggravated for such Gyanis. That's why it said, this Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, these are all for those. But beyond all this, the highest dharma, the Paro Dharma, is this Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Nirmatsaranam Satam. So so those people, who are stuck in this bushes of karma, jnana, upasana, all for material benefit, for those people, these pastimes cannot transform their hearts. We see, especially in today's day and age, many people think these pastimes are sentimental, right? Sometimes when you share with non-devotees, they say, oh, these are all sentimental, right? Like
Yeah.
if you say a blue and white boy came to give groceries, No, this is not true. Actually, when one realizes that the pastimes are not sentimental, I am sentimental. Yeah, I am seeing things from material point of view. I am seeing the Lord from materialistic point of view. Then I fall down. If I see the Lord that way, I fall down. If I see the pure Vaishnavas that way, I fall down. If I consider my Guru's words to be ordinary, then I fall down. Yeah. So this is, that's why it's called Jada Buddhi, animalistic thinking, because the animals, they don't know either the difference between the car and the driver, the soul and the super soul, or the soul and the body. Yeah. So if we cannot differentiate, then we are speculating. Then I am sentimental if I cannot differentiate. Yeah. Not the pastimes. I am Mudha. Yeah. So to sever these kind of pastimes, to see Madhavendra Puri's response to Lord Gopinath, he says, I desire to taste before offering. That was the topic we started off. Question is it such a great offense? It's not a gross offense. It's a subtle offense, but he's so cautious even about subtle offenses, just because he thought of honoring the prasadam before offering. So we find many examples in the Shastras about these mental offenses, right? One such example is also of Gadadhar Pandit towards Pundarik Vidyanidhi, but then he later on, he initially had a different vision, but then he changes it later. So it happens. It happens sometimes. I look at somebody with a wrong vision. So here we see Madhavendra Puri, he felt he had committed a mental offense. He repented, but then he left the temple immediately. He felt he was unqualified to stay, as he felt he offended the Lord. And then what did he do after he left the temple? Anyone remembers?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think he went
Yes.
to marketplace.
And
He was meditating or something. I don't know what I think.
close. Yes. Yes. Anyone else?
He was chanting?
Yes, he was fasting and chanting. Right? He fasted. So the purpose, I was hearing in one of the lectures a lot of time, the purpose of fasting on Ekadashi days or any other days is to chant more and more the holy name of the Lord. If Nirjal Ekadashi or any other fasting is not allowing me to chant, then it's better we honor a little bit prasadam and chant. So the point is, although he was fasting, he was continuously chanting the holy names. Yeah. So he was in his mind thinking that he committed an offense, right? This mental offense. But the Lord apparently didn't look at it that way. The Lord sent this priest and gave him the Amrita Keli. Lord was thinking, oh, your love for me made you commit this offense. Because, the Lord as Gopinath or Lord as Gopal are none different, right? So, it appears, the way Lord is demonstrating this mood by sending the Amrita Keli to Madhavendra Puri. So these verses, all these verses we just read and we have been reading, they all are describing how he was in love and great ecstasy and stuck with wonder. And in great ecstasy, he honored that sweet rice. Then he washed the pot and broke it into pieces and would eat that earthen pot little by little every day. So in this path of bhakti, in the process of Krishna consciousness, we make gradual progress inch by inch by performing devotional activities. And in each of the devotional activity that one performs, one can try to remember Krishna. By remembering Krishna during each and every activity that we perform, our Krishna consciousness is enhanced, right? And our Maya consciousness goes away. So from Maya, we gradually withdraw our consciousness by gradually, inch by inch, making progress and put it in Krishna. Yeah. So like we honor Prasad, right? Is this other prayer where, Ek din Shanti Pure, in that we say, E Shak Aswadilo, that this Shak is tasted by Krishna. So when I'm honoring Prasadam in that mood and remembering Krishna, or when I'm plucking some flowers from the garden, or making some garlands for Krishna, or I'm washing pots, in the consciousness, remembering that, wow, these are pots that are used in service for Krishna, cooking for Krishna. Yeah, this way, when we feel very grateful and fortunate. Yeah. Otherwise, if I'm not doing this, if I'm not plucking these flowers, if I'm not cooking for Krishna, if I'm not making garlands for Krishna, if I'm not washing Krishna's pots, what would I be doing? Rotting in this material world, committing so many sinful activities, engaged in sense gratification. So I'm so fortunate to see this beautiful form of Lord, So this way we gradually remember the Lord and make advancement in Krishna consciousness. You can see, the mood. Of course, Madhavendra Puri is a very, very, elevated devotee. You can see his mood of ecstasy. Yeah. So just a few points I wanted to share. Then, and we see that Madhavendra Puri is now, he's seen Krishna in different forms of the deities. He saw Gopal, he saw Gopinath, and now he's in Jagannath. Puri is seeing Jagannath Swami in special form. But in all the forms, he sees the same Lord. This is my Lord only. And he's feeling great ecstasy towards Lord Jagannath. And he reaches Nilachal and he's, dancing. He stood up, he laughed. He got so much satisfaction seeing Lord Jagannath. And when Madhavendra Puri arrived at Jagannath Puri, all the people there found out that he came to Jagannath Puri. And before he arrived at Jagannath Puri, they were already aware of his reputation. Yeah, as Prabhupada writes, because reputation goes wherever the devotee goes. It jumps from one place to other. And what happened in Ramuna already spread to Jagannath Puri. And so many people came and offered all sorts of respects. And that's exactly what he didn't want, all that attention and respect, right? And we read in several places also in the Bhagavatam that if somebody is worshipping the Lord, worshipping Lord Hari with great love, then naturally all the living entities will develop great affection for that person. Yeah, there is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 4th canto, 9th chapter, text 47. Yasya prasanno bhagavan guner maitriyadibhir hari tasmai namanti bhutani nimnam apa ivasvayam. I'll read the translation. Unto one who has transcendental qualities due to friendly behavior with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities offer honor, just as water automatically flows down by nature. Yeah, this is 4:947. Very beautiful verse. This verse is related to Dhruva and his transformation. and how the power of bhakti transformed Dhruva. He was not a pure devotee, when he approached the Lord. But after Dhruva went to forest and he saw the Lord and got to meet the Lord face to face, and when he was coming back, everybody was offering respects, everybody was offering flowers, the demigods were offering flowers. Everyone was happy with Dhruva attaining darshan of the Lord. So just like water flows down, same way, all living entities naturally bowed down to Dhruva. So one thing, the point that Prabhupada was also mentioning in today's purport, one important lesson I can learn from this is that one should never hanker for respect. I may think, oh, I did so much service and this is not recognized, or I did this, I was not respected, or I was not respected enough, and the lesson is that this anticipation for respect is not good. Our mood is amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari, right? Give all respect to others and don't expect any respect in return. In that humble state of mind, one must chant the holy names of the Lord. So, great devotees of the Lord, like Dhruva, who's a pure devotee, is respected by everyone, and even we see Yudhishthira Maharaj is called as, Ajata Shatru, right? You all have heard that. What does it mean, Ajata Shatru? Anyone?
He doesn't have any enemies.
Yeah, no enemies. Although others perceived him as their enemy, but he never perceived anybody as his enemy. Yeah, and you see, so many times we are hearing, whenever we hear so many discourses, all these great personalities are glorified, right? Dhruva is glorified, Prahlad is glorified, Yudhishthira Maharaj is glorified, Parikshit Maharaj is glorified, Ambarish Maharaj is glorified. Yeah, Ambarish Maharaj, we hear he was glorified because of his bhakti. Yeah? Even without any other qualifications, just by bhakti, one becomes greater than a yogi, greater than the greatest yogi. We have seen in the case of Durvasa Muni, right? He was so much more qualified than Ambarish Maharaj in all the process for elevation mentioned in the Shastras. But, Durvasa Muni was a renounced, he was a Yoga Siddha, he was a Brahmana, he had great knowledge of the Shastra, all more in these categories, all more than Ambarish Maharaj. Yeah. But just by bhakti, Ambarish Maharaj totally surpassed Durvasa Muni. Yeah. Even without desiring to do that, this is very important, he didn't desire to do that. Yeah. But just by his bhakti. And Prahlad Maharaj, yeah, by bhakti, he toppled the order of the universe. Yeah. And without desiring. So, yeah. He caused, the Lord personally came down for Prahlad. So in all of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see the automatic glorification of bhakti, and pure devotional service. In fact, even mixed devotional service, as we see in the case of Dhruva, in the beginning, Dhruva was not doing pure devotional service. He wanted wealth greater than his great grandfather. Yeah, but by the mercy of Narada Muni, he took to the process of bhakti and he became a great devotee. Narada Muni gave Dhruva the process of bhakti. But imagine if Narada had told Dhruva, if you take to this process, you will get detachment from your desires and from wealth. Would Dhruva have taken up this process? You all follow, right? Dhruva's desire. Why did he approach the Lord? To get a kingdom greater than his great grandfather. Yeah. But somehow, but Narada Muni didn't tell him, yeah, that if you take up this process, you will get detached. No. But somehow, Narada Muni engaged Dhruva, yena tena prakarena, right? Somehow or the other, pure devotees engage, and Dhruva became a devotee, and such a great devotee that everyone offered respects to him. Everyone. Yeah. Uh, uh, Generally, you don't offer respects to a small boy, right? But we see. Naturally, as this example I was giving in the Bhagavatam 4th canto, just like water flows down naturally, everybody was naturally offering, because then tendency is to respect a devotee, unless there is some other force or some demoniac forces, but natural tendency is to offer respects. And yeah, these were a few points, and also in text 147, we are focusing on reputation follows everywhere, right? The Madhavendra Puri did not care. Generally, pure devotees, they don't care for any reputation or prestige, or pratishta, as Prabhupada writes here. But in the purport, Prabhupada writes he says, almost all conditioned souls within the material world are envious. This is almost all. Yeah. And this is true to varying degrees. Everybody has. That's why most of us are in this material world. Otherwise, we won't be here. Yeah. So sometimes, I was thinking, sometimes when I, see some devotees making rapid advancement, oh, I'm initiated for 10 years, 15 years, somebody just in a matter of 2 years or 1 year or 6 months makes so rapid advancement, amazing sincerity and devotion. Sometimes, you feel as it comes into the heart, insecurity comes. Yeah. So, but here it's explained, persons like Madhavendra Puri, they don't have any time. They're so busy in engaging in service that they don't have any time for fame, to look, oh, did somebody give me fame, respect or not? They are so busy serving the Lord. He's getting so much fame establishing the deities, Shirchor Gopinath, then Jagannath Puri. Fame is chasing him. And people who saw him, that so much fame, but he's so humble. When fame is chasing somebody, but that person is ignoring it and is still engaged and is very, very humble, what happens? Our respect towards such devotees, what happens? Does it increase? Right? Naturally, we feel like giving more and more respect to them, right? You all agree?
That's true.
Yeah. Then Prabhupada is also talking about sahajiyas here in this purport, who are cheap imitators. Yeah. So both imitating in the material and spiritual circles. So why do they do these sahajiyas? Because for fame and reputation, and you won't get this by cheap imitation. Yeah. So and the other thing we can see also through all these examples, like these great devotees, Madhavendra Puri and other great personalities in the Shastras, that they all have friendly disposition towards the Lord. Yeah. What is that devotional service called out of the 9 devotional services? Friendly.
Sakhyam. That's a
Sakya, yes,
Sakya.
yes, yeah. And friendly disposition is only possible through pure devotional service. And when because Lord is present in the hearts of all living entities, He inspires everyone to reciprocate. Whether we saw the case of Dhruva Maharaj, how everybody was offering flowers to give blessings to Dhruva. Yeah. And we also see the 6 Goswamis in Vrindavan in the Shat Goswami Ashtakam, Dhira, 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 Jana, Priyau, Priyakarau, Nirmatsarau, Pujitau, right? So, the translation for that is, they are just like the ocean of love of God, and they are popular both with the gentle and with the ruffians, because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. So, Nirmatsara, the 6 Goswamis, they were devoid of any envy. They saw every living entity as part and parcel of Krishna. And they also develop friendly relationship with Krishna. Therefore, what happens then? Whomever they met, Dhira, Adhira. Dhira is pious, and Adhira is impious. So whether pious or impious, whomever they met, because they were so friendly to Krishna and they had that relationship with Krishna, and Krishna present in the heart of everyone, he inspired them to be favorably disposed to the Goswamis. So those who are in this bond of friendship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, blessings automatically flow from all personalities. Love and affection flows. We see even in the case of Srila Prabhupada, he met so many adhiras, right? So many impious people, but they were all deeply impressed by Srila Prabhupada's personality. So many of them would come with this in an angry mood to Srila Prabhupada, but then after meeting him, they're all, their hearts would change. And we see in many of the diaries, Srila Prabhupada diaries, we see many places where he was at the airport, sometimes where there were big greetings, kirtans, many people would watch, and later on their hearts were all transformed, because they were so impressed by Srila Prabhupada's aura, by his transcendental presence. So those who have these transcendental qualities, due to being in friendship with the Lord, they are loved by everyone, every living entity. And when Krishna is pleased by their pure devotional service, the Lord, he awards such a wonderful relationship. And all the wonderful qualities, transcendental qualities, are manifest in these devotees, and naturally it changes the hearts of the people. Just by hearing from such great personalities, simply by their glance when they speak, by smiling, by mere presence of such transcendental Vaishnavas, our hearts can get transformed. Yeah, just a few points I wanted to share on the verses we read. Maybe some of you have some corrections, comments, additions. Please feel free to add or correct.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your wonderful class. I appreciate it. I was thinking about how when you were talking about remembering Krishna while we're doing different activities, and you mentioned, washing the pots. And I've always heard that anything that's used, any devotional paraphernalia that's used in service of the Lord, is a manifestation of Baladev. So I was thinking, when you're washing the pots, you're first serving Balaram and then Krishna, or maybe simultaneously. Do you have any comments on that?
I don't want to speculate, Mataji. I would think simultaneously, but maybe some other Acharya Prabhu or Kaivalya Prabhu or somebody else maybe can answer.
I mean, it's certainly a delightful meditation,
Yeah.
thinking of Balaram and Krishna together. And I was thinking how we've always been taught that when we're offering service first to our spiritual master and then to Krishna, right? Because the
Yes.
spiritual master accepts the service on behalf of Krishna. So Baladev being the true spiritual master, right? The ultimate spiritual master in a way. Maybe that's how that fits in.
Yes, that's a great point. Yes, maybe Dronacharya Prabhu, you want to add something, Prabhu? Or somebody else?
Hare Krishna. In relationship to the pots, I always meditate on that because it's in the kitchen, and I've always understood that Srimati Radharani, that is her domain of service, that I'm rendering service unto Srimati Radharani, assisting in serving the kitchen, assisting in that way in serving the kitchen. In fact, going in and offering a prayer before entering, please Srimati Radharani, please allow me to enter into the kitchen and render some service. But even before that, like you said, Mother Sundari, that we can't do any of that without the mercy of the spiritual master. That we're serving the spiritual master, we're serving Krishna through the spiritual master. The aspect of Balaram, I haven't thought about before, that the paraphernalia is all an expansion of Lord Balaram. That too is true. I just never have meditated on it, on service like that before.
Actually, I heard like the Midanga and everybody there, they represent Balaram. That's what Mataji was telling, right? They're all like representation of Lord Balaram and Krishna. Because Lord Balaram always serving Krishna, so all the paraphernalia and everything that you use in Krishna's service, they represent Balaram.
I see Mother Sangeeta is also on the call here. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Is
Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a wonderful class. I was thinking when that was said that it's like the musical instruments, the mridanga, the kartals. We put it up on a platform in the temple room because they are an extension of Lord Balaram, right? So we don't want to put them directly on the floor. So in that way, we're honoring Lord Balaram.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you much. Any other comments? Otherwise, we can read a few more verses.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I'm thinking maybe I'm not qualified to say anything about it, but I'm thinking that when we do the dishes, because these are Balram's paraphernalia, it also makes Krishna happy.
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking. When we do the dishes, it makes Krishna also happy that we are doing Balram's paraphernalia, all this, using for Krishna's service, all this
Yeah.
activity.
Ultimately, our mood is, dasanu, dasanu, das. So if we serve the mood of Guru and Vaishnavas, then it's pleasing to Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
I really appreciate your comment that when you were referring to Madhavendra Puri and his relationship with these different deities, Gopala, Gopinath, and Jagannath, and he felt this ecstatic love for each of these manifestations, each of these deity forms. But I was thinking about how, we read that particular devotees very advanced souls will have a very strong attachment for a particular deity. In spite of that, they can still have those ecstatic symptoms and love for any form of the deity. It's just remarkable. I was just thinking about that comment, and I
Ye-
really appreciate it.
Yes, and that comes up in the subsequent verses where we'll see, now from Jagannath Puri, Madhavendra Puri goes back to Vrindavan, with the sandalwood, and then Gopal deities, are going to ask him to apply this mix of camphor, and we'll read it. We'll see. And yes, there is some special affection or attachment for a particular deity. We see also sometimes devotees who come, they may be at Radha Sharad Bihari's temple, but they may, say Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai, because of their attachments. And so we'll see some of that in the subsequent verses. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we'll read any other comments. Otherwise, we'll read a few more verses. Is that okay? We have some more time. Nrsinga Praladishwar Prabhu.
Please lower a bit.
Sorry.
যদ্যপি উদ্বেগ হইল পালাইতে মন, ঠাকুরের চন্দন সাধন হইল বন্ধন।
Madhavendra Puri wanted to leave Jagannath Puri because the people were honoring him as a great devotee. However, this threatened to hinder his collecting sandalwood for the Gopal deity.
জগন্নাথের সেবক যতেক মহান্ত, সবাকে কহিল পুরী গোপাল ও বৃত্তান্ত।
Sri Madhavendra Puri told all the servants of Lord Jagannath and all the great devotees there the story of the appearance of Sri Gopal. Sorry.
গোপাল ও চন্দন মাগে শুনি ভক্তগণ, আনন্দে চন্দন লাগি করিল যতন।
When all the devotees at Jagannath Puri heard that the Gopal deity wanted sandalwood, in great pleasure they all endeavored to collect it.
রাজপাত্র শান যার পরিচয়, তারে মাগি কর্পূর চন্দন করিলা সঞ্চয়।
Those who were acquainted with government officers met with them and begged for camphor and sandalwood, which they collected. Purport. It appears that the Malaya Chandan, sandalwood, and camphor were used for the Jagannath deity. The camphor was used in his artik, and the sandalwood was used to smear his body. Both these items were under government control. Therefore, the devotees had to meet with the government officials, informing them of all the details. They attained permission to take the sandalwood and camphor outside Jagannath Puri. So, when Madhavendra Puri, he heard about the reputation, he wanted to fly away from Jagannath Puri. How far did he come? He came about 1,000 miles, from Vrindavan to Ramuna to Jagannath Puri, but he couldn't just run away. Why? He thought of running away because people were honoring him, right? But why didn't he run away?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, he had made this promise to the deity.
Yes,
Bring back
yes.
the sandalwood.
Go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, it was going to affect his service, right? For the Gopal deity, he came for Chandan, so he had to stay So he sat with them, and he's telling them the story of Gopal. Gopal personally came and he established the Gopal deity on the top of the Govardhan hill. He had Annakut festival. Again Gopal asked him to get chandan, huge quantity of chandan. And Madhavendra Puri didn't have a single penny. Yeah. But he had the most precious jewel than anybody else, any of the biggest billionaires. That was his pure loving devotion to the Lord. And after hearing such nectarian pastime, who wouldn't want to serve the Lord? Right? So as soon as they heard that Gopal deity wanted chandan, with great pleasure, with great pleasure, everyone endeavored to get the chandan. Some people here, especially in India, you may be familiar that sandalwood is under the control of the government. Yeah, no one is allowed to just grow and sell. A lot of restrictions are there. You can't just go to forest and get it. No. So the Jagannath Puri's reputation got him the chandan, and devotee, and you can see so much reputation and fame, pratishtha, that Madhavendra Puri got. What did he do with that? He used it. Because of that, everybody gathered, and he used that to enhance his service to the Lord, and not for himself. Not for himself. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Any comments from anyone else on what we just read? Should we stop here or should we read one more verse? Yeah, maybe we'll read two more verses. Sorry. Go ahead.
One more verse. It's so interesting.
Okay. Maybe 152 and 153 we can read. Go ahead. Oops, sorry, 152, right? Yeah.
এক বিপ্র এক সেবক চন্দন বহিতে পুরী গোসাইয়ের সঙ্গে দিল সম্বল গ্রহিতে.
Yeah. One Brahmana and one servant were given to Madhavendra Puri just to carry the sandalwood. He was also given the necessary traveling expenses. So he got, okay, let's continue. Yeah.
ঘাটি দানি ছাড়াইতে রাজপাত্র দ্বারে রাজলেখা করি দিল পুরী গোসাইর করে.
To get past the toll collectors along the way, Madhavendra Puri was supplied with the necessary release papers from government officers. The papers were placed in his hand, So everything that was necessary for him to get that chandan back was all provided to him, whatever was needed. Okay, Hare Krishna. Maybe we'll stop here. If anyone has any final comments, corrections, additions.
Just that last point, Prabhu, about how the government officials gave him the release. Going to your initial point of Bhagavad Gita 9:22, that Krishna, if we're lacking something in our devotional service, Krishna will carry that. Obviously, he was not had connections in government and had, was a politician and had, did bribery and things like that. Obviously, that was not his nature. But Krishna provided all of those things. Whatever obstacles were there, Krishna provided and carried whatever was needed for him to carry out his service. So that's a nice connection into the verse you spoke about to begin.
Yes, Prabhu. Excellent point. Thank you for connecting the two. Thank you so much. Wonderful point. Any other comments? Otherwise, we can end. Okay. Thank you
very
so
much,
much
Prabhu.
for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vasindhya patitanam
कृपासिन्धुभ्यो पावनेभ्यो
Vaishnavebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a nice
Thank
class.
you.
Thank you, Prananath.